Hey, hello, hello. It's been a big week. I've had a big week. It feels like it's been a bit hectic. I feel like there's a wee bit of pressure building as we build into the end of this week. And what I'm so grateful for, and something I strongly observed this week, is my desire and need for space. So the older I get, the more space I seem to need. And I'm space everywhere. You know, everything needs more space. I need more space. Everything needs to feel spacious. And I love the idea of being spacious. Like, how can I do that? I spent a night in a hotel, and you often, I do that a lot with, working and traveling around the world, but I like listen to me, traveling around the world. I wasn't traveling around the world, I was traveling around New Zealand. It sounds very bloody exotic, doesn't it? But anyway, I do like to travel around the world, and occasionally I get to go to wild and interesting places. But this week I was in Auckland and I had a night in a hotel completely alone. And often when I'm traveling, I have an event on. And so I'm in Auckland or I'm in Melbourne or I'm in Sydney, but I'm having dinner with people this was a night all to myself, just a night. So I had an early start the next day. And so I found myself in a tiny little hotel room all alone. And, I could not have been happier. Could not have been happier. So the older I get, the more space I kind of want. I need space in my clothes, God bless, space in my calendar, space in my house, space in my drawers, like just space. And one of the beautiful things about my world is that I travel a lot for work, and I do get this extraordinary amount of space. Now, don't get me wrong, I love being with my family, but not all the time. Not all the time. I love waking up alone. I love being in a bathroom on my own. I love not having to consider anyone else, right? So, it's like I've spent nearly 25 years parenting, a lot of time serving other people. And I think part of this lovely, what I call the third stage, as I'm heading into my third stage, it's like, yeah, I love this. I love the fact that I now have space. And I think people get very negative about, the children are leaving home and I'll be sad. I'm like, no, don't be sad. Be fucking happy. Like, this is a new space for you. What are you going to do in this new space that you've got? Because I wrote in my very first book that, going through menopause means that you no longer can bear children. I actually think you no longer have to bear anything. And I am very positive, but I love the idea of positivity and of going, okay, this is a new phase. This is a new space. And what do I need? So loving space. Space is just something that I'm kind of craving. And everything in my life up until now has been very overstuffed, like lots of stuff, lots of my calendar overstuffed. I'm feeling like I want to have less stuff. And I spent the weekend helping a beautiful friend to shift into a new space. And it was really interesting, the amount of stuff. And she, like me, loves stuff, has a lot of stuff. So we had a lot of conversations. I'm very kind of, what's the word? I'm very understanding of people who have a lot of stuff and clutter, because I'm a stuff and clutter human. But as I mentioned, I'm feeling like I want less stuff as I get on in the world. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's what I'm meant to be doing, because I think evolving requires eliminating. So, what are you eliminating so that you can step into the next version of yourself? So, with my friend, we were talking a lot about, do you want this? And she was like, yes, I need it. And I'm like, do you though? And what are you giving up by holding on to this? Like, what is the space that this thing could create by getting rid of this pile of books? What is the space that you could then benefit from that is possibly worth more than the pile of books? Right. My friend Andrew helped me once declutter a room, and he had this rule: can you get this again? As in, is this a piece of paper you could ring the bank and ask them to reprint you? Is this something you can download off the internet? Is this something that you can purchase again if you really, really needed it? And that's really helped me. So getting rid of things that I can replace is a great thing, because I was holding on to all this just in case, and it's like the freedom of space is incredible. So physical space, giving yourself time, I really like that. As I'm getting older, I just want to spend more time with myself. I want to hang out with myself. I want to go places on my own. And I think there's something in that. Like, we buy into this society thing that if you're surrounded by people, you must be popular. And only the weirdos are left alone, like at school, if you were alone with no friends, you were weird. Now, if I'm alone with no friends, I want to fucking do a cartwheel because I'm actually really happy to be on my own. And part of that is because I actually really like myself. I love hanging out with myself. I think I'm funny. I think I'm interested. I think I'm interesting, right? I just kind of like the idea of I don't get bored with myself. So that's interesting. And I think that comes from, liking. I've got a friend who's, shall we call her serially single? She's been single for a very long time and she's been sort of constantly searching for the one. And she sent me this funny meme the other day and she said, "Oh, I finally found the one. It's me. I'm the person I've been looking for my whole life." And I'm like, how beautiful is that? It's me, right? Falling in love with yourself is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Just wanting to be with yourself, getting to know yourself. When I'm alone, I notice things about myself. I notice things that annoy me. I notice things that I go, oh, I feel like listening to, what music do I want to listen to? What's the thing I want to eat? What's that when I'm not considering other people's opinions, when I'm not considering the needs of others. So I'm not going, oh, yes, well, I'll have steak because, my husband and my son love a steak. So I'll get a steak. I don't want a fucking steak, right? I'm on my own. I can choose what I want to eat. I don't want to listen to this. I don't want this TV on in the background because I don't have the consideration of others. And I think when you are a professional considerer, we've been considering other people. Most of us have been considering others our whole lives. So, what's it like to have time on your own, to take yourself away, to give yourself space? I think it feels like a gift. And just, going on a roadie last year, I had a gap between two speaking engagements. And so I ended up in Brisbane for 4 days, 4 days in a tiny little apartment all on my own. Now, I'm going to be honest, there were parts of it that were a bit weird. I was like, oh, I really need a friend right now. But I was writing a book, and I thought, no, I'm not going to have the distractions. I have friends in Brisbane. I deliberately avoided them because I wanted to give myself the experience of being completely alone, the experience of having no one. When you don't talk, I talk a lot, obviously, but when you don't talk for 4 days and you just are with your thoughts, magical things happen. Sometimes dark things happen, weird things happen, but it gives you an insight into yourself. So, space is definitely my observation for this week, and thinking about what does your future self need? If you are evolving, what are you eliminating? How does future you, this is what we spent time with my friend who was going through a house load of stuff, and I'm going, does future you need this? How does future you want to feel? Does future you want to be able to open a drawer and see some space instead of everything being jammed up and jammed in? What do you want to do? Giving yourself the space just to consider those questions is extraordinary. So my observation this week has been all about space. I'm noticing physical space. I'm noticing emotional space, thinking space, all the space. And I do think that space is a gift that we can give ourselves. And so maybe you don't like being alone. Maybe you need to spend some time alone to see why. Taking yourself places alone is something I've been doing more and more of as I get older. And going to the movies alone. I love that. I love the idea of saying, I want to go to a movie. I want to watch this movie. Seeing this movie does not depend upon someone else being available. Seeing this movie does not depend upon me having a friend. Seeing this movie is just something I want to do. So if you've never been to a movie on your own, I strongly recommend it. You're sitting watching a screen. There's nothing to do. You don't need anyone to talk to. Going out for dinner on your own is another whole thing. And for some people, they don't like that. They find it very weird. They feel vulnerable. I love it. I love observing people. I love meeting people. You're more interactive with the staff. You've got more bandwidth, I guess, because you're not absorbed in someone else. So I eat a lot on my own and I enjoy that. But if you haven't spent a lot of time alone, I reckon this might be the week. This might be the week to consider some space. Do you need to take yourself away for a couple of hours? Take yourself somewhere overnight. It doesn't even have to be expensive. Like going and staying, if you know that your friend's away for the weekend, just go, can I go to your house? Could I go to your house and just lie on your couch for 2 days? Because that would be such a gift. So it doesn't have to be going and spending money and taking yourself anywhere expensive. We think that all this stuff, we go, oh, I can't do that because I can't afford it, or I can't do that because I haven't got time. What if you made time? What if space was something that you gave yourself? A gift of space. Oh, that's my observation. So I want you to think about that. I hope you have a lovely weekend and give yourself a lot of space. Maybe clean out a drawer, find some space somewhere. Let things dangle in the breeze and enjoy your space.